Ladies and gentlemen of YouTube, thanks for joining me. My name is Eric from ORV Explorer, and today we're going to do a walk around of my brand new 2020 Ram 2500 Power Wagon. We're going to do a walk around and we're going to talk about a little bit about why I purchased this truck and what kind of content's to come about this truck. I'm really excited to own this truck. This is my dream vehicle. I've been telling people that are close to me that this is my lottery vehicle. Had I won the lottery, which I have not, this is the truck that I would buy. So I'm really excited to do this, and I hope you're excited to join me. Let's get started. Starting off with the tires. These are considered 33-inch Goodyear Wrangler Duratrack tires. They're a pretty aggressive all-terrain tire. I say they're supposed to be 33-inch because I think if I take the measuring tape to them, they're actually closer to 32. While they are an aggressive tread pattern, I think they leave a little to be desired in terms of the actual size, just when compared to the size of the truck itself. I think they could have put bigger tires on here. I've read on the forums that people can actually fit up to 37s on this thing stock with maybe minimal rubbing. I believe, and I might be wrong, if you know otherwise, please correct me in the comments, but I believe Ram has stated that they've stuck with a smaller tire size because of the articulation, to allow maximum articulation inside the wheel well. If you have a bigger tire, typically you wouldn't be able to articulate so well. I don't know, I'm not an engineer, I didn't design this thing, I just bought it. I'm gonna try to hold on to these tires. I'm gonna try, because it's always tempting, but my intention right now is to hold on to these and wear them out, and then once they are worn out, replace them with 35s, maybe even of the Duratracks. I was never a huge fan of the Duratracks for some reason. I've always been kind of brand loyal with the BFG KO2s. That's what I ran on my previous truck and the truck before that, and then regular KOs on the truck before that. But I'm really liking these things. They're starting to grow on me. I could tell you they're a lot louder than the KO2s though. But ultimately a great tire. This truck does have the 6.4 liter gas V8 Hemi, putting 410 horsepower, 429 pound-feet, foot-pounds, whatever it's called, of torque into an 8-speed automatic transmission. That is the only engine option for this truck. I know that on many other YouTube videos, the comments of people asking for a Cummins in this thing, and it's just not available. At the end of the day, the Cummins weighs something like 700 pounds more than this engine. That would really weigh it down. This truck's already over 7,000 pounds, right? So you put a Cummins at the front, you're going to really weigh this thing down, and even chip away at your already almost non-existent payload capacity. And then the other thing is that here where the winch is, great segue, right? Here where the winch is, that's normally where I believe the intercooler would be for a diesel. So there's not room. That's what I had read kind of from for Ram's reasoning behind no comments. Maybe they'll come out with it at some point, but as of today, you can have any engine you want as long as it's a 6.4 liter Hemi. Up at the front of the truck here, you got the big old Ram logo. Unfortunately, I didn't get the camera package on the ones that are kind of loaded with the 360 cams. You can see a little camera right here under the A. This one only has the backup cam in the tailgate. We'll show that a little later on. But it did come with the winch. So that's a 12,000 pound Warn Xeon winch with a synthetic cable. I noticed that in other videos that I've seen, there's a hook on this side and people wrap the cable around here, and I had posted on somebody else's walk around who also only has a single hook. Apparently that's what Ram's doing now, because they don't want people wrapping the cable around, because that's hard on the cable from what I understand. So that's why they're starting to look like this now. It's got these big old recovery hooks. That's to recover people who drive Chevys. Certainly not for this. This one's not going to need them. And then you've got the sensors, that's the word, in the bumper. Fun little fact that I discovered, I didn't know this when I bought the truck, but when you are driving the vehicle and you hit your signal light, so let's say I wanted to turn right, this fog light will actually turn on to illuminate beside you. You can see how the fog light kind of wraps around the corner, so it will illuminate to light up the way. The Power Wagons all have the upgraded lighting package, so I'm a big fan of lights. If you're subscribing to this channel, you better get used to that, because I love lights. This thing looks awesome at night. I'll post a picture there so you can see it. It's got the clearance lights up on the roof as well. Believe it or not, that was just part of my wish list in the truck. So that was one of the things that I had to have. I was looking at original 2500s, like non-Power Wagon, and I would not buy a truck that did not have clearance lights. Don't ask me why. I told you I love lights, okay? So you can't argue it. It's my money. I could do what I want. This thing came with it, so we're good. It does have the upgraded suspension, obviously being a Power Wagon. So these are Bilstein shocks. Bilstein. There's a lot of things on this truck I apparently don't know how to pronounce. Towing mirrors did come standard, so they can be flipped up into this position when towing so that you can see the back of the trailer. It also has, while we're on the topic of mirrors and such, it does have blind spot monitoring, and it also has trailer blind spot monitoring. So when you have a trailer hooked up, it's gonna read what's behind the trailer all the way behind you. That activates automatically. As soon as you plug something into the wiring, it knows, hey, you just plug something into my butt, and it turns on the trailer blind spot monitoring automatically. On the side here, you've got the Power Wagon stickers. They add at least 25 horsepower to it, I think, and they look really badass. It's that's kind of a play from the 70s Power Wagons, which had kind of this, no, they did not have this body style. They had these stickers very close to it. They didn't look quite like this though. These are very different. The side steps came with this particular truck. You know what? I like them. I think they're a lot better than most aftermarket side steps. Yes, it is a Power Wagon. Yes, it is designed to go off-road, and these things will get beaten up off-road. I think the superior solution is definitely sliders that can kind of serve dual purpose. Until that happens, these came with the truck. Until it happens, they're getting their use daily. Here's the thing. I intend to off-road with this truck, no doubt, and sliders would make a lot more sense, but I need to find some sliders that serve the purpose of side steps really well, because as much as I do intend to drive this thing off-road, it will be driven more on-road than off, and I've got kids and I've got a wife, and side steps are a necessity. So these work for now. If I end up finding a great solution that kind of checks both boxes, then that's definitely what we'll do. Now, I know I'm kind of all over the truck. Again, I told you I was excited. This is what happens. You're gonna have to deal with it. Let's keep going. I got the Ram boxes. This here is another necessity. So far on my necessity list, we've got clearance lights and we've got Ram boxes. You'll either hate these or you'll love these, because yes, they do reduce the amount of bed space that you have. The way I see it though, these again are something that I would use daily. The cargo capacity that I'm lacking in the bed, which is basically what's over the wheel wells, is not something I would use daily. Therefore, I'm getting more use out of this. What my vision is for these Ram boxes, this one's gonna get filled up. I'm starting slowly but surely, starting to fill this thing up with ratchet straps, safety vest. It's got a little flashing light should there be some sort of roadside emergency, you know, a Chevy broken down that I have to help or something like that. I've got my winch controller here. I've got some booster cables, Hitch. This is actually interesting. This is the Mopar kit that came with the truck. It's like a safety kit. It has some safety triangles with it, a fire extinguisher, which I intend to mount underneath the passenger seat. I don't remember what else that comes with it, but hey, came with the truck, we're all good. So this is gonna get filled up with kind of like those safety gear, some recovery gear, again, to pull out the Chevys, the Fords, anything but the Rams, because the Rams don't need it. and also maybe first aid kits, tools, anything like that. Okay, so that's what's going to go in here. And then the other side, I intend to leave this side empty because this is kind of, I call this my discretionary Ram box. Okay, it's on the driver's side. I'm a lazy guy. I like it to be nice and close to me when I'm driving the truck, so I can just pop back here and put anything you know, that most people would put in maybe in the trunk. It's just, this is going to be used to keep the cab clean, right? So if we're driving somewhere with the sweaters and it gets too hot, next time I pull over, sweater's going in the Ram box. I like to carry a gallon of water whenever I'm traveling, and I'll use it to refill my little water bottle. Got to stay hydrated, right? That goes in the Ram box. So things like that. You pick up a couple bags of groceries, they can go in here. So this one will generally stay empty. And basically my goal is to keep it empty after every drive. That's really the ultimate goal. It does, while we're here, it does have an inverter and 115 volt plug. I've read some reviews of people saying that that will pop the fuse very quickly. I guess if you go over 400 watts. I haven't tested it yet, to be honest. And yes, these do have drains somewhere under here. That little rubber mat lifts off and there's a drain under it. You're gonna have to take my word for it. Now, these are generally watertight. I won't call them waterproof. As you saw, there's a little bit of water in there now because I washed this thing with a pressure washer. I've never had any issues of things getting wet there, but you know, under the high pressure of the pressure washer, maybe some will get through. Not a big deal. We're gonna have to deal with it. There are lights inside. They light up nice at night, and there's a little switch here that you can manually activate them. And in case you ever get stuck, you can just pull on that little lever, whatever it's called, and get out of it. Moving on to the back, the taillights have some sensors built into them, plus they just generally look pretty awesome. The back bumper does have the sensors in that one as well. The hitch is actually in a really cool location. I find the safety chain hookups are really accessible, right? Some hitches you have to really get under there and try to get to your chains. This one's not a problem at all. It has both your 4-pin and your 7-pin connector for your trailer. Big old Ram Power Wagon, another sticker. This one does not add any additional horsepower though. It's cosmetic only, FYI. And here's the one and only camera that I have on the truck. If I had to pick a camera location, that would be the one. But I'll tell you, this truck, and we're gonna go through some of the features throughout the video. This truck has almost everything I wanted. I didn't plan on buying this truck right away, but let me turn around so you can actually see it instead of just looking at my ugly mug. I didn't plan on buying this truck right away. I didn't plan on actually getting it until next spring, but I found this at a dealer in Toronto, maybe about 5 hours away from me. Got a good deal on it, so decided to move on it right now instead. The one thing that it's missing that was on my would-be nice list, not my necessity list, if this is not as big as the clearance lights, okay, is the 360 cam. I think the 360 cam would be very helpful off-road because it's big. You got a big hood in front of you, and once you start to go up an incline, you're looking at that, right? So having a front camera I think would be really helpful, but I can pick one up for cheap off Amazon and just put it out when I need it. I'll have the, you know, a little screen to use. It's not as good as integrated, but I intend to use it when I need it and just put it away when I don't need it. Not a big deal, right? All right, so the tailgate, it is dampened, meaning that it will fall slowly and not just drop on you. The key that it comes with, so you've got lock and unlock. When you lock it, everything locks. So the tailgate, the Ram boxes, obviously the doors, unlock it, the reverse will happen. If I tap on the tailgate button twice, come on. Listen, I'm parked on an incline. That wasn't supposed to happen. Oh, and I can't close it now because of the tonneau cover. Anyway, you push the button twice, the tailgate opens. Okay, you're gonna have to take my word on it. There's a little bit of pressure on it because of the tonneau cover, but I did test this in my driveway to make sure that it still works with the tonneau cover, and generally it does. but I think that depending on kind of what angle your vehicle's sitting at, it obviously will work when it wants to. What I was trying to demonstrate is it's dampened, right? So you drop it, it will slowly open. The bed is, it does have lights. There's a little button here to activate them. They're not showing us a whole heck of a lot right now. But the cool thing about the Ram Box, let me just get this thing opened up. Probably should have figured this out before I was recording the video. Probably should have edited this out since this is not a live video. All right, there we go. So you still have good space. This is, you can fit a 4x8 sheet of plywood. That's what they say, obviously with the tailgate down. This is a 6'4" bed. I fit my wife's four-wheeler in here still, but it was tight. So these are part of the Ram Box system. So these are basically adjustable tie downs. They can go anywhere on this rail if these mounts for the tonneau cover weren't present. But the tires on the ATV would rub these. Again, I still got it in. I was able to haul the ATV, and that's the Sportsman. My Kodiak I think will fit just fine, but again, it's tight. Now, one thing that you should know, this cargo divider comes with the truck. It's part of the like the Ram Box cargo management system. I think it's really incredibly useful whenever you're, like, if you're just going with a propane tank or something. You don't have to, you know, get the bungee cords to try to figure it out or put it in a milk crate, anything like that. You can simply set this up so your stuff doesn't slide around. You want it here where it's accessible, right? And so this, like, for example, this has just a bunch more recovery gear that I eventually have to transfer over to the Ram Box like I originally had said. But this doesn't slide up to the front of the truck, and it doesn't require me to tie it down. Yeah, you can get cargo bars or whatnot from your favorite retailer. They make them. These things exist. This is not earth-shattering, but it's nice that it's included. The other thing that this used to do is it used to double as a bed extender. So historically, the Ram Box equipped trucks would come with pegs here and here on both sides. And when you open this thing up, it would come around on the tailgate to extend your bed. It can still do it. That device remains unchanged. What's changed is that they no longer give you the pegs. I don't know if FCA got in some sort of legal trouble because the system failed or something. All I know is my truck did not come with them, and I had read on the forums that that's what's going on. My dealer has agreed, like, because they had told me it would do it and whatnot, so they ordered me the pegs. You can still get them from Mopar, and they're not crazy expensive, but don't expect it to come like that right off the lot. This is how they come now. FYI. So no dual exhaust on this puppy. You just have the single passenger side exit exhaust. The duals are like on the 1500s that would come out of the back. That won't work on this truck. Because it's an off-road truck, they want to maintain maximum approach angle and departure angle. Departure angle is basically when the truck is, you know, front high. You don't want the back end to scrape on the ground. And if they had put tailpipes in the back, that would lose some of that departure angle. So not a good idea. Of course, you can install whatever you want. It's your own. Well, not on this. This is my truck. But if I were to go dual exhaust, I would just put another pipe out the back right behind the tire, because there's the likelihood of right behind the tire scraping is very slim. Personally, I don't think I'll ever do it. I'm happy with the truck just the way it is. It reminds me of a Bruno Mars song. All right, let's check out the back first. Sorry for the mess. We had gone on a little road trip to check out an RV, and apparently some of the Happy Meal made its way into the truck, and now it's going into my pocket. Gross, right? I know. So the rubber floor mats did not come with the truck. I think they are an option. My dealer was nice enough to throw them in. It didn't quite fit right here, so I just did a little bit of trimming and jimmy rigged it the best I can. but it's a rubber floor mat. I think it's far superior than carpet. This does have the leather interior with perforation in the seats. This remains unchanged from the previous version, so it does have a nice fold down cup holders as well. You lift this up, because you don't have a flat floor right off the hop, they give you the ability to unfold these, call them subfloors, or floating floors if you will, and you can stand these up to give yourself a flat floor all the way across. So it's nice that you do have the option. And then under here, normally there would be storage. This one's got the Harman Kardon system, so this is a subwoofer for the system. But on the other side, you do get some storage. So I did lose some storage for this, but it sounds awesome, so I'm okay with that. Under here, there are these, they're called Ram bins, and you can put some ice and some little juice boxes in there for the children if you'd like. I wish they would have figured something out with the floor mats though, so you can easily access it without having to unclip the floor mats every single time. But I'll take what I get. I'll tell you, the last 2 trucks I've had have had those Ram bins, and I've forgotten about them every single time. I don't think I've used them once. It's a cool idea. I just have to remember that they're there and find an opportunity to use them. In the middle here, we do have dual USB to charge the kids' goodies. They have heated seats on either side, as well as another AC plug for your power inverter. And then the traditional, you know, pockets in the back. I've got the rear slided and defrost window. We've got microphones placed throughout the entire cab, LED lighting, more speakers galore, and the door panel. I think, you know what? Very similar to my old 2016 Ram 1500. This is the same cab that truck had in terms of like the size and even the door panels. But just the finishes are a little bit different. This doesn't have the wood of the fancy trucks, but I think it looks pretty good. It's got soft touch everywhere. Some people don't care about that. I don't know, I guess I like touching things. We've got power adjustable seats on both sides. The Power Wagon stitching on the seats, so that's on both front seats. We've got Power Wagon emblem here. We've got another one in the dash that I'll show you, plus the stickers in the back. You will not be confused in terms of what truck you are driving when you're in this thing. It is a bench seat, okay? Bench seats have sure come a long way from the old school trucks. There is some storage here underneath. Just have a box of like disposable children's masks, and then lots of storage in here, which is being used right now. Up here on the dash, we do have dual glove boxes as well. So one at the bottom here, and then you could just push this button to pop this one open. Even LED lighting inside the glove box, which is nice. And then down below, we have another AC plug. I think there's more AC plugs in this truck than I have in my basement. And then you just have a storage pocket here. Okay, I'll get to that stuff when we get to the other side, but it's hard to see. I know some of the trucks, some of the Ram trucks with the bench seat, they have like a compartment that can open here, but we can't just because of the transfer case selector here. All right, so let's move over to the other side, give you a good look of the front of this truck as we go over. I love the looks of these things. So we're inside the truck now. I had to start it up and plug my GoPro in. It died right as I was getting in. It interrupted me, didn't make me very happy, but I'm gonna swallow my pride here and move on. I'm doing this for you. Okay, so what I was trying to show you is on this mirror, there's actually a light here as well, which illuminates kind of the back of the truck, and it also illuminates below, like where your feet would go when you're climbing in and out of the truck, which is just a nice added feature at night. Again, has as someone who appreciates illumination, I could certainly tell you it makes me very happy. The door panel, same sort of design as what we saw in the back. It does have memory seating, so that will actually that will control more than your seats. That will control the seats, the mirrors, as well as the power adjustable pedals, as far as I know. Your typical power windows, power door locks. This is to lock the kids out when they won't stop playing with the darn windows. This here is to control your mirrors. The center button here will fold the mirrors in and out electronically. But if I wanted to adjust the mirror, I would just hit L and then adjust it. If I want to adjust the little convex mirror at the bottom, I would select this button here, and then the convex mirror will adjust. So that's new. Those you used to have to move them around with your fingers and get your fingerprints all over them. No more. Again, more speakers. I don't even know where all the speakers are in this truck. There's a lot of them. You've got your headlight controls and your fog lights. I typically just leave it on auto. You do have your power adjustable pedals here. It is tilt steering. It's not a telescopic or telescopic. I'm having a hard time with English today. It's not a telescopic steering wheel. It's fixed here. A lot of people complain about that. I like the way it is. I'm coming from another Ram truck that, like, this is kind of the configuration I was used to, so not an issue for me, but just something you'd want to be aware of. On the dash, it's really configurable. You can see I have the time at the top left, the temperature top right, compass bottom left, and average fuel economy bottom right. That's not fixed like that. You can adjust that. You can set it up however you see fit. I'm showing my fuel range on the right, and just like kind of the menu system, so I can scroll through the menus here on the left with the speed in the middle. That's all configurable. So I really like how they set that up, instead of just giving you one model that you have to choose like they did with the engine. Okay, so RPMs on the left along with your temperature, speed on the right with your fuel. Talking about fuel, this thing's still pretty new. As you can see, I have 3,000 kilometers. I am Canadian, so I measure everything in kilometers and liters per 100. So far I've been pretty impressed. I know my family and I had just taken maybe a 4-hour trip each way, so we drove for 8 hours in one day, as we went to look at a toy hauler, and we averaged about 14 liters per 100 kilometers during that trip. So that's pretty decent. I had also read that it gets better once it's more broken in. I don't know how many kilometers it takes to get to that point, but at 14 liters per 100 for a truck this size with a big old V8, it does have MDS, mind you, so it does go down to 4 cylinders when you let it. But ultimately I'm pretty satisfied with that. I know when I was towing my my 2 ATVs on the trailer, I mean, that was not a heavy load. I think I might have been towing 3,500 pounds, 3,000 pounds, right? So not a whole lot, but it's still towing something. And I did that for about 1,000 kilometers, and I averaged just under 18 liters per 100. So pretty decent, but we'll see what we get when we're towing a big 10,000 pound toy hauler. So this truck, before we move on to more interior, I do want to talk about the elephant in the room with these trucks, and that is the payload capacity and towing. They are limited versus a traditional 2500 because this truck is an off-road truck. So it does have a soft rear suspension, and that's primarily what's leading to that restriction in terms of your numbers. I mean, it's got big heavy-duty brakes. The brakes are not the issue. The frame's not the issue. The powertrain's not the issue. The axles are not the issue, and the tires are actually not the issue. It's primarily suspension, and there are some things that can be done, not to change the number. I get it. You can't officially change your payload capacity, but you can improve the way that your truck performs under load, and that's what I intend to do. I think the payload capacity on this truck is pretty bad. I mean, it's even less than what my 1500 was. I think it's something like 1,200 pounds because it is loaded. But I'm not worried about that. It's a 2500. It is a 3/4 ton truck. I'm not advocating for people to drive over their capacities. you do what you want. But there will be future videos about that. I know there's people who will say, oh, your insurance won't cover you. Listen, I've done my homework and I've checked those boxes. I can't give you all the answers now because then you'll have no reason to come back to me. So we'll save that, and you're just gonna have to subscribe and come back, I suppose. All right, back to today's topic. Sorry about that. The steering wheel looks a lot like the older 1500s and the older 2500s as well. It is leather wrapped. You've got your voice control. This is what you would use to answer the phone, to work through the menus. Obviously your horn. This is to set the gear limit. So it's not necessarily to adjust your gears, but I could say, hey, Mr. 8-speed transmission, I don't want you to go beyond 5, and I could set it to 5 and it will shift from 1 to 5 effectively. As far as I know, that's how it works. But these buttons are also used for the adaptive cruise control, to set the distance in which you are maintaining between the vehicles. I'm pretty sure anyway, I might have just lied to you. Ugh. I hope not. It's not a good way to build trust. Okay. Let's just say these are for the gear limits. Moving on. This does have regular cruise control and also adaptive cruise control. So the adaptive cruise control is where it utilizes the sensors in the front of the truck, and I believe it's operated through sonar to maintain a certain distance, which is configurable from the vehicles in front of you. And I was very skeptical about that getting into this truck. But I use it now whenever I'm on the highway, and I absolutely love it. It does a fantastic job. It will even stop the truck altogether. You know, it's not to the point, and you should never stop paying attention to what's happening. But it takes care of a lot of those inputs for you, and it's fascinating to watch it work. I think where you really have to be aware and really be cautious is if ahead of you, you know, you've got a good distance. Let's say I set my cruise control to 100, and I am going 100 because the cars are way ahead of me, and then they suddenly stop. I'm a little cautious about that, because if I'm approaching them at 100 kilometers an hour and they're stopped, I don't know that I'm going to trust a piece of technology to bring me to a stop. But under other conditions, I think it does a really good job. It does have a garage door opener up here on the visor, as well as your mirrors and LED lights and whatnot on the other side. A lot going on here. So you do have assist, you know, for I guess some sort of concierge service, and if you need help, you could push this button. Automatic tailgate release, I won't push that because it might embarrass me again, but theoretically if I push that button, my tailgate should open. And then this is just to control your dome lights, right? So if you want them to be activated by the door, or just turn them on right now. Here we have to open and close the sunroof. Here we have to tilt the sunroof up and down, and this is to open and close the rear window. I was talking about the things that were non-negotiable for me for this truck so far. I think the list is the Ram boxes, the clearance lights. This is another one, the sunroof, and the rear sliding window. For some reason, I just love those. I like driving with them open. So those were really big on my list of non-negotiables. I also really wanted a leather interior, but I was willing to do without it. If I was going to get a big horn or something, I would have had to go without it. The Power Wagon, again, this is how it came. It came equipped exactly the way I wanted it. Again, just missing the cameras, but ultimately I do think it's very well equipped. This is the control for the 8-speed transmission. So just to select your drive mode. This is where things change, and this is how you know it's a Power Wagon, right? Because this is how you can you got some extra 4x4 goodies. So here you can lock the rear axle, so that will give power to both rear wheels basically at the same rate. This one will lock the front and rear axles, so both diffs are going to be locked at that point. All four wheels have equal power at that point, and that's it's about the best you can get in terms of four-wheel traction, right? So That's one of the big features that this truck does have. Hill descent control. This here is the sway bar disconnect. So another Power Wagon exclusive, I'll call it. You select that button and it will electronically disconnect the front sway bar. Not the rear, just the front. Okay, so when you do that, it does allow maximum articulation, so it lets you kind of stuff one side of one wheel up into the well and your other wheel to drop right down. And that just lets you keep your 4 tires on the ground, which, by the way, is where you want them to be when you're going over some heavy inclines. You know, 4 wheels on the ground gives you maximum traction, especially when you combine it with your front and rear diff lock, and the truck will keep on moving. That's why these things do so well off-road. Okay, so let's talk about why I bought this truck. I wanted to upgrade from a 1/2 ton to a 3/4 ton truck, primarily for the purpose of towing. I do intend on getting an RV, probably a toy hauler, and I believe that a 3/4 ton truck will tow it way more comfortably than a 1/2 ton will. Even if we weren't looking at a toy hauler that has really heavy tongue weight, and just looking at a regular bunkhouse, I would just feel more comfortable in a 7,000 pound hunk of steel than I would in a 5,000 pound hunk of steel. I like the longer wheelbase. I love the fact that the stronger axles. I like, you know, everything about the heavy duty that makes it a heavy duty, I think is beneficial. The fact that it's a Power Wagon changes the game a little bit, right? And that's where I had almost ruled these trucks out, just like a lot of people do, is if you do intend on towing, the towing capacity on these trucks is shy of 11,000, so it's between 10 and 11,000 pounds, whereas a traditional 2,500 is far greater. Again, that is primarily due to the suspension setup, with a proper weight distribution system. Yeah, you're not taking payload off the truck, I understand it. You're just redistributing it to the front of the truck and the back instead of it all being in one location. I get it. Airbags, they do not change the payload. The sticker is a sticker. I totally understand that. But I believe that this particular truck with airbags in the back will be much safer for my family to tow a trailer than a 1/2 ton that would have a better sticker rating, right? I truthfully believe that. Again, there will be videos about that in the future, to kind of take a deeper dive. You're welcome to comment on that as well, but I will articulate all the research that I've done to justify this purchase. This has been my dream truck otherwise. Okay, so I am an off-roader. It's in my blood. I'm big into ATVs, side-by-sides. So gaining the ability to off-road in the truck is just another added benefit. You know, this truck to me is kind of the jack of all trades. I've got the winch. Again, that's the tow out Chevys. I've got the towing capacity, towing capabilities, I'll call it. I've got it's super comfortable for the family sort of thing, and it's a great off-roader, so it's kind of the jack of all trades, and that's what really sold me on the truck. I obviously love the looks of them as well. It's got everything I want, right? And so ultimately it was a perfect fit. Super excited to have it. I do have some plans. Primarily, again, it's kind of the air system is the biggest one. I've already thrown the tonneau cover on the back, some vent visors, just small things like that, and eventually I'll put 35s. But I hope you'll join me. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, you know what to do. Go ahead and click on that subscribe button if you want to see future videos about the truck and how it tows and all the stuff, because we're going to do it all with this thing. But don't be shy. Leave a comment. Hit the like button. Thank you very much. Keep on keeping on.